North America on IMSA Radio.
Well, hello everybody. We've got 2 rounds left of the 2022 Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands. And as tradition dictates, we will round off the season here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta as part of Petit Le Mans weekend. We're just outside of Brazelton, Georgia, about an hour and 30, an hour and 40 minutes up the I-85 from downtown Atlanta, depending on traffic, which can be a little bit tricky, of course. 2.5 miles just over, 12 corners, turn 1, massive commitment, uphill, rush of the brakes, get back on the throttle, give it large, up over the top, blind corners to 2 and 3, then down through the S's, turn 5, bit of a bump there as you turn in, next line a bit difficult, ultra quick into turn 6 as it's banked on the inside, turn 7 is a bit tighter than you think, not really an overtaking manoeuvre, then through the kinks at 8 and 9 and down to 10A, 10B, and then that is a real overtaking spot. And then round to finish the lap off at the awesome downhill diving right-hander at turn number 12. Nothing sets my heart up better than seeing a full grid of Porsche Carrera Cup cars, and we have them. 29 cars, no starts for PJ Hyatt, for Pedro Torres, for Jeff Myshak, or for Justin Oakes. We'll give you the full details of that. And why in just a moment. In fact, we can tell you why PJ Hyatt is not there, because this morning in qualifying lost the car at the top of the hill at turn 5 and hit the tyre barriers at just the wrong angle to put the car onto its roof. See the underbody aerodynamics is, you can see that's not probably the right situation. PJ was fine in that AO kart and managed to get out, but that car, Jeremy, obviously not taking part. It did absolutely its job in terms of the FIA safety cage and everything else. Couldn't use the driver flap to get out at the top because it was upside down, but that car will probably live to fight another day, but not this weekend.
Chassis damage on that car, unfortunately, so that car will not be seen again this weekend. Most unfortunate, because he was sending some blistering laps, and it was right towards the end of qualifying, and the red flag came out and stopped a couple of guys who were on really good laps at the end there. So it not only upset him, but upset several of the front runners as well. Also upsetting the front runners is a newcomer to the championship here this weekend, Heinrich from Germany, who is the reigning 2-time Porsche Carrera Cup Germany champion. He clinched his second title in succession 1 week ago at the Saxton Ring in Germany. Comes here this weekend to make his debut in North America with the 311 RS Motorsport team. Puts the car on pole position. As far as he's concerned, however, he's running here as an invitational entry, so not eligible for championship points. Therefore, second fastest man in qualifying is one of the championship contenders, and that is Riley Dickinson. He will start on the outside of the front row, but he will take the 2 points that are on offer for the pole sitter.
Yeah, Lauren Heinrich is invisible for points, but if he gets onto the top step, he can shake the champagne. So we have then remaining a 29 car field. We've had over 40 in the past. Let's take a quick look at how they'll line up for race 1 of 2 this weekend. Here's Jeremy with the runners and riders.
Yeah, so Jeff Myshak also had an incident yesterday. He will not be starting in the Goldcrest car number 29. Grady Willingham was starting in 29th position in car number 21. Row ahead of him is Vernon McClure in car number 10 and Tom Collingwood in car number 69. Bill Smith and Bob Mueller, number 42 and number 28, will share row 13. Richard Edge in car number 18 and Moise Uretsky in car number 44 ahead of them on the grid. Row 11, Kurt Swearingen in car number 17 and Mark Kawami is the points leader in the AM class in car number 43. He will start 21st. But on the pole for the AM class this weekend, having celebrated his 65th birthday a couple of weeks ago, John Getz for Wright Motorsports in car number 57 will start 20th. Ahead of him on the grid, Adam Adelson in car number 24, Marco Troni in car number 84, Hunter McKenna in car number 88. Row 8 is Matt Holcomb in car number 55 and Jeff Mosing in number 56, third fastest in Pro-Am. Efrain Castro, one of the contenders for the title in Pro-Am, the defending champion, car number 65 for Kelly Moss, will start 14th. Ahead of him, 2 pro cars, Varun Choksey in car number 13, TJ Fisher in car number 58. Then the pole sitter in Pro-Am, the championship leader, car number 99 is Alan Metney. Row 5, Michael McCann in car number 8 and Travis Wiley in car number 77. Michael McCarthy in number 7 and Grant Torquay in row number 81. Row 3, Dimitri DeMarcos in number 11, the championship leader, Kai Van Berlo in number 3, Trenton Estep and Parker Thompson on row 2. On the front row of the grid, Riley Dickinson in car number 53 and Rory Heinrich in car number 12.
The red and white number 12 leads them to the line, and Lauren Heinrich gets this underway. He'll defend the inside. He's being forced over to the right-hand side by the 53 of Riley Dickinson, and Parker Thompson coming through behind, but it is the German double champion, Lauren Heinrich, who goes through, and here comes Thompson in the shell car. He's got through into second straight away. That's a very powerful move, and a powerful note of intent there from the young Canadian, who's gone straight through into second position, following through into third place, Trenton Estep, who took a win, of course, up in the streets of Toronto. He defends stoutly going into turn 6 from Riley Dickinson, who's got his teammate and championship leader Kai Van Berlo diving down the inside at turn number 7. That was very nearly a repeat of what happened at turn 10 at Indianapolis. Came from a long way back there. Kai really needs to take a breath sometimes before he makes those manoeuvres. 2 cars ahead of him. He'll get a good draft here. Who does he pick? Well, he's picked one, he's picked both of them, and now he's going to the far left-hand side of the track on his own, and he makes it 3 across the track, going down into turn here for the first time. First and second are away, and here comes the championship leader. There was contact there. That'll be looked at. I'm not sure, 3 wide going into turn 10 here on the first lap of the race. He's smart by any of those drivers, and they're still side by side coming out the final corner, and off goes Dickinson. He'll do well not to hit the wall there. Got to be very careful as the pit wall comes to meet him, and he's dropped all the way down outside the top 10. What an opening lap, what entertainment. The Porsche Carrera Cup North America, the Visit Cayman Islands, has already shown us what it can deliver, Jeremy Shaw.
Wow, yeah, that was so much went on that first lap here, side by side through the final corner there. And Riley Dickinson, he wasn't really pushed off, he just kind of ran right over the curb there. I think Trenton Estep pretty much left him enough room on the outside. Yeah, I'd say so. And Riley Dickinson there, he got kind of shuffled out there at the chicane, turns 10 and 10A, and he's lost himself a lot of ground now. And that is not good for his championship aspirations at all.
Another touch, side-by-side contact. These cars run big cambers as well. The wheels at the bottom are further out from the bodywork than they are at the top. They've got the wheel arch extensions on that allows them to have the wider front tyres on the 992 Cup car. Heinrich by half a second from Thompson. Van Berlo, championship leader in third, then Estep. Dickinson is way back down the field now, and that'll reset as we come back to the line. Cars on the dirt underneath us as the field comes down the hill and into that red Georgia clay. So I said out of the top 10 for Riley Dickinson. It's actually dropped down to 12th position in the classes. Wright Motorsports, John Getz is leading in 19th overall in AM. Mark Kwame in second in that class, and in Pro-Am it is Alan Metney who leads, and he's got a couple of cars between himself and his title rival Efren Castro. Start is under review. The start is under review.
Yeah, as standard procedure, boy, that was a pretty fraught opening lap. There's all sorts of things going on most of the way around the lap, but Trenton Estep just got super defensive there in several different corners. That allowed the 2 leaders to get away. A brilliant move there by Parker Thompson, I think, to take the lead going up the hill toward turn 3. A very bold move at the inside to take that position away from Riley Dickinson, who then got shuffled further back.
Second place on the road, but Jeremy, you're right, that is the lead. That is the 25 points.
That's exactly right.
So Heinrich doesn't exist for the points. He will be allowed to stand on the podium if it finished right now. Thompson would claw some championship points back on Kai Van Berlo in second. Trenton Estep in third is a couple of seconds further back. Dimitri DeMarcos has made a cracking start and picked his way through all of that carnage. 1 year on since the first time we saw him in Porsche Carrera Cup North America. A man from just outside of Chicago in the number 11. That's the team car to the leading car. Lauren Heinrich is red with the white cross and on the bonnet, and Dimitri Dimakos is black with a red cross on the bonnet. Leaders coming up to turn 6 now as the field streams through turn 5. Dimakos with Michael McCarthy in one of the 3 white and green Kelly Moss racing cars that are in this race. Van Berlo in the number 3 is the one with no coloured accents on the front and rear valances. McCarthy has the sort of purpley colours on it, and the orange colours of the 53 of Riley Dickinson distinguishes that car from its teammates.
Yeah, so coming into this race then, the cars are now running in second and third. Parker Thompson and Kai van Berlo, they're the top 2 in the championship in the other order. It's Kai van Berlo that leads by 11 points over Parker Thompson.
Penalty for Dimitri Dimakos. He changed lanes at the start. Not allowed. You must stay on your side of the grid as you come through. It was a pretty even start as they came down. Yeah, he's pulled right out and across a lane. That is a mistake that you might expect a rookie to make. Also, Trenton Estep, I said it was stout defence coming down from 5 to 6. He's been warned for that, for blocking. I thought he perhaps had just stayed the right side of the line, but it was close, and I can absolutely understand why that's been pointed out by race control to his team and therefore to Trenton Estep that, right, that's enough of that, thanks very much. Probably got a little bit of leeway because it was the first lap, but he's not going to be allowed that again, and he's been told that in no uncertain terms by race control. Like that, very good. Meantime, McCarthy then down the inside at turn 10A in the white and green car on the green car. So that's, that's Riley Dickinson coming through there. He's already gone past Grant Torquay. So that's back up to 8th from 12th at the end of the first lap for Riley Dickinson. So he's on a bit of a charge, needs to be. Got his first win on hallowed ground at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Brought all his team in for the big photograph to kiss the bricks in front of the winning car. Very classy young man, Riley Dickinson. Top 4 in the championship, Kai van Berlo, Parker Thompson, Trenton Estep, and also Riley Dickinson. All would be very good ambassadors and represent this championship very well in the shootout later on the year. And that's what they are all aiming for.
Yeah, and it was Heinrich, of course, that won that contest last year, didn't he?
Yeah, very good point. And he's now a Porsche junior driver. Yeah. So many drivers have come through that in the past and through this and its predecessor championships around the world. Here comes Dickinson on TJ Fisher. He's got the inside line to turn 10A, and that's done and done. Super stuff. Grant Torquay trying to close in the bright green car. Oh, spun up the back wheels there as he came out of 10B, and that's cost him, as he's lost a position to the number 77 of Travis Wiley, just coming out of 10B. Had a really good entry into 10A, the green car, and then spun up the rear Michelins, and that just killed his progress. It's quite steeply uphill, actually, from 10B under the Fox Factory Bridge. At the front of the field, Lauren Heinrich is putting on a clinic. 3 seconds almost the gap now between himself and Parker Thompson. Thompson's got 3 seconds on Van Berlo. Now, Parker needs to play this one sensibly. You only get 3 sets of new Michelin Racing tyres to use per race weekend from qualifying onwards. And there were some drivers who did use all 3 sets of tyres, we believe, yesterday. early this morning, excuse me.
Quite a few of them did. I think the only one who didn't actually was the race leader, Heinrich, who saved us. Said he laid down a fabulous lap early on, and he's just continuing that dominance now. Really impressive run for the youngster from Würzburg in Germany.
Dickinson makes up another position, now in 6th place, as he has gone by Michael McCann. And now it's his teammate Michael McCarthy who's a couple of 3 seconds up the road. So Dickinson will be kicking himself here because he's obviously had pace in that car. Dropped a huge amount of time and real estate at the end of that lap 1 kerfuffle coming across the line. And he's now 15 seconds away from Heinrich, who he can stroke it home from here now. Heinrich, as even this early on in the race, with half an hour to go, Heinrich has done the hard work. What he needs to do now is to make sure that he keeps the Michelins underneath that bright red number 12 311 RS machine. He's still getting used to ABS. The championships he's raced in does not use the ABS option. Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Visit Cayman Islands, is the only one in the world that does that. It's over 500 horsepower, 510 PS, so I think creates about, it's a little bit less in horsepower, so 507 or something like that. Flat 6-cylinder, horizontally opposed, or boxer engine as it's sometimes called. Great sound it makes as well. Whole new chassis for the 992 Cup car that came into racing competition last year. The American Series here, just one of 5 around the world that had it on its debut season. Super Cup, obviously, Deutschland. So 2 wins in this car. Championship wins for Lauren Heinrich, our leader. Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, Benelux as well. So Parker Thompson is the effective leader of the race for points. And this is a little handful of points grabbed back, but in the context of the season, Jeremy, any points grabbed back are points well worth having. And at the moment, Parker Thompson is scoring 20 points to Kai van Berlo's, 25, sorry, to Kai van Berlo's 20. And we'll have to keep an eye on who's got the fastest lap as well, Lauren Heinrich. Which
could be absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Heinrich has overall, but of the other contenders,
it is Parker Thompson who's got that.
Yeah. And that you get a point for fastest lap, and I believe that even if Heinrich sets it overall, it's going to be whoever is
wound back. Yeah,
exactly. So and that 11 points between Van Berlo and Thompson coming into these final 2 races. With the positions as they are now, Thompson will gain back 5 of those, and potentially 6 if he can hang on to that fastest lap pointer as well.
Yeah. 1 or 2 dusty cars out there, including the number 99 GT Silver iFly car, just going across the top of turns 2 and 3 now. That is the leader in the Pro-Am category for Alan Metney. I don't think he's been off, but I do think he's been through the residue of people ahead of him who have been exploring the outer limits and the red Georgia clay. Two team cars together as well in 8th and 9th, TJ Fisher and Travis Wiley with the 2 top racing cars, the Apex Capital machines, running in team formation at the moment. Behind them is Grant Torquay. Grant's a bit further behind them, yes, in the bright green machine. Sun just starting to sink a little bit and make things a little bit interesting. Whatever. Looks like the engine, sorry, not the engine cover, the luggage cover on Grant Torquay's car is bouncing around a bit. Carbon fibre reinforced plastic, exactly the same as the road car. The GT3 road car very much related to these cars that are racing now, and Grant Torquay's car, a pretty good approximation of the good old Porsche colour that is Viper green, or now called Python green. The road car, a stunning piece of equipment. sharing the same front suspension with the double wishbone, fully adjustable front end. Of course, they do get bigger wheels. They have 20 and 21 inch rather than the 18 inch diameter racing wheels and tyres. The road car with the bigger diameter rims and a 6-speed manual gearbox in the road car, whereas it is a Porsche racing gearbox here. But with the optional carbon fibre fixed seats on the road car, you could honestly think that you could roll straight onto a track and have a race.
You were talking a little while about the differences between the car, the fact they're running ABS here. The other difference for Laurent Heinrich, who's leading this race now, is the Super Cup races are generally around about 25 minutes.
Oh yes, good point.
The Porsche Carrera Cup Germany is 30-minute races.
Yes.
This is 45. I spoke to him a little while ago. He said, that's something I'm going to concentrate on. I've done some long-distance races before, but I haven't done a long-distance sprint race before.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Jeremy, but this is the longest that any Porsche Carrera Cup races in time.
Yeah.
It's normally, for the National Championships, it's half an hour. Certainly Porsche Carrera Cup Asia tends to be half an hour or 17 or 18 laps, whichever comes first. Super Cup, obviously running under the constraints of being on the Formula One category, Formula One schedule, a little wee bit shorter than that. Battle for position going through the top of the hill with Hutton McKenna on the tail of Marco Cironi. Now, they're not in the same class. It's 15th and 16th. Marco Cironi is Pro-Am. Hutton McKenna in the McKenna racing car run by Wright Motorsports in the Pro category. Lovely to see those colours back again. The white car with the yellow bumpers and the red script on the side. Those with long memories will remember that colour scheme in the American Le Mans Series, running the 88 as well. Just in behind there, another Pro car, that's Adam Adelson, Premier Racing, running the number 24. Normally runs the 48, but gave that number away. Normally runs the 24, but gave that number away to allow, big slide down the inside by Hutton McKenna at turn 10A. Can he hold on to that? He can somehow. And here comes the 24, who gave his number away to the Ray Evernham run, Jeff Gordon driven silver machine at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And managed to meet his hero. I suspect there might be an autograph on that 24 car somewhere.
And Heinrich continuing to pull away at the front of the field. The gap between second and third has come down a little bit. And Trenton Estep is actually closing on the both of them. And he's just turned his best lap of the race, Trenton Estep, in the fourth place car, number 6, at the 121.8.
So coming into unknown territory now for Laurent Heinrich in terms of what he's been used to racing in the Super Cup at 20 odd minutes. This a 40-minute contest this year, but still 10 minutes longer than any other Porsche Carrera Cup race around the world here. Carrera Cup North America, presented by the Cayman Islands.
Ooh, there's a battle going to turn 1 is for the lead in Pro-Am as Alain Metni defends to the inside there to keep Efren Castro behind him, and Varun Choksi, who had been in the middle of that duo for the last few laps, he's got past Metni, and there is the battle heading around turn 3 and down into the S's. Metni just ahead of Efren Castro,
who has the fastest lap in Pro-Am. Yeah, I did mention earlier on that slightly dusty number 99, the silver car, had a couple of cars cover between himself and Efren Castro. That is not now the case, as Jeremy's pointed out. And the purple and black car in second place. Now, Alain Metni needs to put all thoughts of last year and the triple header out of his mind. He came in here leading the championship in Pro-Am, had a decent first race, finished second to Efren Castro, and then the second and third races were absolute nightmare for him. And in the end, Efren Castro snatched the championship by a single point off at turn 1 in the dust, off backwards there. That was a high-speed incident. It is the leader. It's Lauren Heinrich, who's gone off. I said he was in uncharted territory.
Not yet, but on that score, but...
Just 20 minutes to go. And
wow,
that's a big off. He's not getting that going again. It's torn off the front splitter, the under part of that. Sideways and backwards, the hazard flashes going automatically on the cars. He was on his own, turns in, it all looks good. Oh, wiggle in the middle of the corner. 2 wiggles, in fact. He went off on the exact track that we lost one of the prototypes. There's 1 wiggle and he turns in, he catches that one, and then there's a second as he hits the bump. He was slightly offline and hit the bump, and the safety car is out, full course yellow.
Wow.
And, well, that is twofold interesting. One, the man who has dominated here and had broken the back of the race halfway through the race, he could stroke it home from there. Now, I'll tell you now, that's interesting for a driver who's been picked as a Porsche supported young driver. He's shaking his head. I'm not sure he realises what happened, but what we've seen will give him, I think it will give him a little sucker, because the first, he will have think, I caught that, why did it snap? And quite clearly he put a decent amount of counter steering opposite lock-in after the first slide. He comes in perfectly, there he's caught the first one, then he hits the bump, and it's the bump that unsettles his car, and that's quite a big impact with the car leaving the grass. So he catches the first one, there's the counter steer, I've got it. Why is it sliding again? Because he was slightly offline and he hit the bump towards the apex of turn 1 in the
carrying a lot of
speed through there. These are quite high downforce cars. He's fine, but there was just a little look back at the car and a shake of the head, as much as say, I have no clue what happened there. I think he'll get the clues when he sees what we've seen here in the booth.
Was there some sort of a braking issue there? I mean, you're on the brakes there, I think. I'm sure you are in these cars.
It's a light brake. It's about a 3 or a 4 in pressure. Now the question is, are you still braking on the ABS all the way up to the corner?
There you go.
And that I don't know. I'd have to ask one of the drivers. That's maybe a question we will do between now and tomorrow. But he's going to wonder, because he got the counter steering. You could quite clearly see it. He was turning left. He turned in, it's fine. The back end of the car started to step out. He's caught it, probably lifted just a little bit, and then he's turned back into the corner, going back through the middle, you all actually saw him pause at the straight ahead position and then turn right. So he's let the car settle exactly as you have to do. His mind's working and clocked so much quicker than ours, but he did absolutely the right thing. Only the slow motion shows you that. You can't really see that in real time, but that's how quick these guys' minds work. But then hits the bump and the car's gone. So Thompson now leads from Van Berlo and Estep. It hasn't changed at all the points that they will get. What it has done is brought Riley Dickinson back in the mix, because that 15 seconds that he was away from the lead has now basically 3 cars lengths.
Yeah, and it also brings Kai van Berlo right onto the tail of Parker Thompson and Trenton Estep, who's pretty much the quickest guy in those last few laps, right onto the tail of Kai van Berlo as well. So that's going to be right behind him is Michael McCarthy, who's been turning some good laps. Riley Dickinson, as you say, clawing his way back into the picture. So
it's also closed up the AM battle as well, because John Getz now has got Mark Kwame right on his tailpipes.
He pulled out about 4 seconds over Mark Kwame, who's battling away, or had been battling away with Richard Edge and Moise Uretsky as well was in that battle, and Dimitri DeMarcos, having served that penalty early on, it caught up onto their tail. Also in Pro-Am, Alan Metni and Efren Castro, they were pretty much nose to tail in any case, and will remain so at the restart.
So keep an eye out for John Getz in the purple and silver Wright Motorsport number 57, and Mark Kwame in the mostly silver with a bit of black MTK Motorsports. They're 19th and 20th, and they are first and second in AM. That Pro-Am battle is 11th and 12th. That's the silver iFly number 99 of Alan Metni and Kelly Moss Racing, and Efren Castro is the half and half, sort of purple and black number 65. And at the front of the field, well, you know what they're doing.
Right.
15 minutes to go, Jeremy, and possibly a bit of welcome relief for the Michelin tyres, although it's only 22 Celsius, which is 72 Fahrenheit on the track, which is not critical by any stretch of the imagination. The tyre engineers and the teams start to get a little bit worried when you get up towards about 48, 50 degrees Celsius.
The other factor, of course, is the wind. It's pretty breezy out there.
That's a very good point.
It's been very gusty, and when that car is stepping loose on you into turn one, that's the last thing you want, those cars being loosened up even more by the air there. We heard several of the drivers during the WeatherTech session talking about the effect that the wind does have on different parts on this racetrack.
Lauren Heinrich will be absolutely inconsolable at the moment. He will want to know what mistake he made. He'll be looking at the data as soon as the car is back. But he has thrown away a real opportunity here.
I just wonder whether there was some sort of a braking issue on that car, because the way it stepped out, he'd been lapping incredibly consistencies. The 3 previous laps before the off, 1 minute 21.94, 121.96, 121.98.
Wow.
Pretty darn impressive. And in each of those laps, he'd pulled out 4/10 of a second, 4/10 of a second, and 3/10 of a second over Parker Thompson in second position. So he's absolutely flying. He was clearly in the groove there, and something upset that.
And that was half a second slower than his fastest lap, those 3 laps that you've just mentioned there, Jeremy. So he wasn't massively leaning on the car, trying to put another fast lap in. He was still quicker than everybody else. Maybe he'll feel he could have dropped his pace a little bit more. Really,
he was also one of the drivers this morning in qualifying that didn't use that 3rd set of new Michelin tyres. He'd set his lap times early, and he was good with that. Come in, park it. Whereas all of the other championship contenders came in toward the end of the session, put on a fresh set of tyres, and then of course there was that red flag right at the end, which scuppered their plans of perhaps improving in those final few minutes.
Now we're not going to go green next time around. We've still got work going on at turn 1. If I look to my left from our broadcast booth, I can still see the flashing lights of the rollback, the flatbed down there. Phil being led around by the Porsche safety car. And this weekend, I think we're back to the Turbo S, aren't we? The bright red car. 992 Turbo S. As soon as I see the rear wings, I'll confirm that. Yep, got the same air duct in as the race cars, but on the road versions, that's just for the Turbo S. 520 horsepower for that machine. And a new special edition just been released using that car as a base model. That car's all-wheel drive, the safety car, and is very impressive. The new Sport Classic has that engine and chassis and that amount of power, 500, nearly 600 horsepower, 570 something, I think. But it's only 2-wheel drive and has a 6-speed manual gearbox, which sounds lovely. They are all already spoken for, as you might imagine. A very competent road car indeed, I would imagine. 11 minutes to go, we're under safety car. for the penultimate race of the year in Porsche Carrera Cup North America. The 311 RS number 12, Lee Keen's car normally. Lauren Heinrich this weekend driving that car, twice a Carrera Cup Germany champion in the last 2 years, and into the pit lane for Matt Holcomb and the Mystery Machine number 55.
Yeah, he had the problem right before we went to the full course caution. He'd been running in the 14th position and just not far behind, only what, third position he was in the Pro-Am class, but he had a problem and pulled off there. Just to note that 311 car that's being dragged back now, Deluxe is the brand that's on board the sponsorship for that car, and the sister car, Dimitri DeMarcos. And Deluxe, their home base is Minneapolis, has been for 100 years, but they've also got a second home base here in Atlanta, just not too far here from the racetrack, and they've got 40 guests here this weekend, including quite a few of the top executives are visiting the race this weekend. So they'll be disappointed to see the one car out of the race, but they've still got the second bullet in that gun. Dimitri DeMarcos, having had that penalty earlier on for an improper move at the start, had been working his way back into the lower reaches of the midfield. Currently running in a 21st position is Dimitri DeMarcos in car number 11. And
the safety car lights are out. So as much as we love it, the Turbo S will exit as it comes underneath the Fox Factory Bridge, already accelerating away,
back
using that all-wheel drive and turbo power to pull away from the cars, and leaving the field in the very capable hands of Parker Thompson, who has Van Berlo tracking his every move. Trent Nestrup, who dropped back just a little bit, now closes in. And then it's McCarthy and Dickinson. So 3 Kelly Moss Road and race cars in the top 5, and the leader goes.
Wow.
Straight after out to turn 10, while everybody else still had a little bit of steering lock on, so they couldn't accelerate. As soon as he got the wheels straight, he was gone out to turn 10B. That's a lovely start, and off behind them. This could be big. This could be very big indeed. That was the 2 Apex Capital cars, and it's the 58 that went off, TJ Fisher, and somehow got it back on. He was battling with the team car for top racing. That's going to be a difficult debrief. The 58 rather, has continued, and Travis Wiley was there as well. Oh, I just think it was a little bit too much pace taken by the first of those 2 Apex cars. And of course, target fixation there, I think, from Travis was following TJ, and he kind of just followed him off. I don't think he touched him. That will be something to talk about in the hauler later. Well, that's good news for the drivers behind, as Grant Tolkien makes up a position. Moran Choksi as well, and those behind all will move up a position.
Including the Pro-Am leaders, of course, Alabetti and Efren Castro, number 99 and 65, still pretty much tied together.
What have we
got?
Here's
a battle. There's a pass for the lead Pro-Am.
As you mentioned it, Jeremy, so does it happen. Efren Castro has to take every opportunity. And here comes Hutton McKenna as well. He's a pro car, though. So is this a repeat of last year? Full course yellow. Full course yellow is back out. This is for debris on the front straight. It's one of the signs, the sponsor signs, that is in the middle of the track, following that off by the 2 top racing cars. And where did that, flicked up and into the middle of the road. Now, they are a light plasticized board, but even so, you can't have that there. Meantime, at the back of the circuit, that's up on the handling circle at the top of the hill, and
it's Grady Willingham.
It's Grady Willingham who's gone off in the rain car and giving some fans up there a slightly better look at the number 21 Goldcrest Motorsport car than they were expecting. There are metalled roads now all the way back to the paddock, but that's a long old drive, and that car doesn't have the benefit of the front axle lift that the GT3 road car has. It is an option, I should mention, for the road car. There are a couple of speed bumps that he might find a little challenging. He might do well just to park that in the cutout between turn 5 and the back straight for the short course. Well, it shouldn't take long to clear that. Indeed, it has not. The ever hard-working corner workers have made sure that we can go back racing straight away. We'll have about 5 minutes left on the clock, which will equate to probably 3 laps. Well, there's real debris and a trench forming on the outside of the final corner. It's been super dry here, barely a spot of rain for a month or so in these parts. And that has left the Georgia Clay, which this place is famous for, very dry indeed. Same again for Parker Thompson, and pretty much the same result. Not quite as big a jump on the field. It looks like Van Berlo was ready for it, but you simply can't get the power on, and Van Berlo goes wide into that trench at the exit of the final corner. Now that'll put dirt on his Michelin tyres. Behind him in 5th place, Riley Dickinson was defending from Grant McCann in 6th position.
Well, yeah, was it McCarthy who ran off the road there, or was it Van Berlo?
It was Van Berlo.
Was it in 7th position? Wow. Yeah.
And that was a big off. He did well to keep momentum there.
Yeah.
Estep still in 3rd, McCarthy 4th, Dickinson, McCann, Torquay, Choksky, and TJ Wiley still in, Travis Wiley, excuse me, still in 10th. Efren Castro now into the top 10. Doesn't get any more points for that, but he's got half a second of a gap on Alan Metnick.
Gets some brownie points for that. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, he will be very happy with that.
And it's interesting to me is Trenton Estep seems to struggle. He struggled at the beginning of the race, and again at the restart, just lost a little bit of ground to the 2 cars ahead of him. But that car then comes in, but there's only 3.5 minutes remaining in this race.
Great restart again from Parker Thompson, the Canadian driver for JDX. It's Jeremy Dale and Harrison Bricks who put all that together. And those guys have been around for a wee while, I think it's fair to say, and put their faith in Parker Thompson. He's committed 100% to this form of racing now. Tried to do it with a split program a few years ago and readily admits that was the wrong thing to do. Delighted to have another opportunity, and he's still in with the championship fight. 1:21.459 is the fastest lap in the category. Remember, it doesn't count for, as Jeff Mosing's had an incident and is off at the cutout at...
He's well out of the way there. I
think
doubt
that's all right.
Caution for that. He's done a good job to keep that car well out of the way.
Yeah, he'd had a problem earlier.
Oops, there he goes.
For turn 7, he'd already had a problem. He's got damage to the door mirror on the driver's side. He was reported as moving slowly from turn 7, so he's decided to park it rather than to try and get back to the pits. And the leaders are going to come through. I think he's probably all right there. We'll get this one and one more. And here comes Parker Thompson and crosses the line in front of us now. 2nd place, Van Berlo. Then the number 6 of Trenton Estep, beginning to get back up to speed. And still people kicking up the dirt behind us. Thompson with an 0.8 of a second lead. Similar margin between Van Berlo and Estep. Side by side at the top of the hill. Plenty of dusty cars out there now as Varun Chotsky tries to go past Michael McCann and takes 7th position and gets it done. And Michael dropping back several places there as he was offline and drops behind Efren Castro. Now that's important because he's now in between the battle for 1st and 2nd in that Pro-Am.
That's exactly right, and coming into this weekend, Alan Metni leads the points over in Pro-Am over Efren Castro by 14 points. So he needs a bit of help, Castro. If Metni finishes second to Castro in both races, that'll be good enough. There are no bonus points for pole or fastest lap in Pro-Am. It's just the overall points for the position.
He would win by 4 points if that was the case. But
he's mindful of that.
Yeah, he's just got to finish. That's the key thing. Right, McCarthy and Dickinson come over the hill and down to turn 12, the right-hander at the end of the lap. No team orders here, of course, as Thompson has had his lead cut just a little bit. The white flag is out, so under 2.5 miles now for Parker Thompson. And Van Berlo is beginning to close in. And Van Berlo has pulled out on Estep and McCarthy. So it's between the first two in the championship. Estep trying to hold on there. 1.5 seconds between the top three. Then the two other Kelly Moss Road and race cars. So that incident between the Dimitri Demakos car, the number 11, and the number 56 of Jeff Mosing. That was, right, okay, now we understand why Jeff was going slowly. There'd been contact with Dimitri Demakos earlier on in the lap before he crawled from turn 7 to park it on the outside of 10A and 10B. Final lap of the race. And a win, surely now, for the number 9 JDX racing car, Parker Thompson. The Canadian holds sway in this first race and pulls back, we think, 6 points on Van Berlo in second, the championship leader coming in this weekend. Trenton Estep, third in the championship and third here ahead of McCarthy. Dickinson must be kicking himself. He had a super quick car today, really did. It's going to be Efren Castro who holds back 5 points on the championship leader in Pro-Am, and it looks very much like in Am, John Getz will pull the same 5 points back on Mark Kawami.
Yeah, hats off to him there. As they just a couple of weeks after his 65th birthday, and he's in the 17th position overall. That's a sound effort by John. I saw him this morning. He was pretty pleased with himself, as you rightly said. He said, "I don't feel like I'm 65 years old." And he's not driving like one either. Really good effort by him. What a great effort there by Parker Thompson, that Shell top-up car for JDX Racing. It's going to come down to the final race, and I reckon there's going to be 5 points between them. And
that's the gap between first and second.
Yeah, that's the gap between first and second. So in terms of wins, Kai Van Berlo has 6 wins on the season. Parker Thompson has at the moment 5 with today's race. So there is a. It'll come down to if he comes down to second positions right now. Parker Thompson has 1, 2, 3, 4, and Kai Van Berlo just has 2. 3 today, and
I want to know who's
tomorrow.
on pole for tomorrow. I haven't seen the
no, it's Heinrich again, and I think it's Riley Dickinson who was again in second.
I think
so.
So neither of the two guys in first and second in the championship. Efren Castro takes a great win in Pro-Am. John gets in Am. This is going to tighten things up. Yeah. If we've got to go down to seconds and thirds positions to find out who wins the championship tomorrow, you'll have me to bury. You really will. It's going to be that tight. 5 points the gap between first and second. Kai Van Berlo for Kelly Moss Road Racing leads it from Parker Thompson from JDX. And remember, there are 5 points as a gap between first and second. Fastest lap tomorrow could be very, very important. Can someone else spoil the party for Thompson and Van Berlo? Well, Thompson takes it today, and his championship hopes are alive after Lauren Heinrich went off at turn 1, having really dominated the first part of the race. The championship is perfectly poised. Join us tomorrow for Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta.
Radio Show Limited production. For more, check IMSARadio.com and subscribe to IMSA Radio wherever you get your podcasts. Midweek Motorsport, Wednesdays at 8 p.m.
News and analysis,
Speculation and debate.
special guests, and our resident experts discussing the